Welcome to the Undergraduate Student Organization online training. Here at UCAE, we are excited that you will be serving as a student organization president, treasurer, or authorized spender this year. This training is designed to provide you with important information and valuable resources that will help you succeed in your leadership position. Leadership is a contribution. What will yours be? The training is divided into 4 areas of student group success: activating your purpose, maximizing your resources, contributing to your community, and excelling as a leader. To fully complete the training, you will need to watch the whole video and pass the quiz with a 90% or higher. You will only be able to take the quiz after watching the video. If you have any questions, stop by the UCAE front desk in the UCAE Administrative Suite on the 2nd floor of the Bryan Center. Let's get started. The University Center Activities and Events, UCAE for short, is a department comprised of multiple teams, all dedicated to supporting you and your organizations. Throughout the year, you'll work with UCAE in your student leadership role. Our offices are located throughout the Bryan Center, and you can learn more at the UCAE website. Duke has over 600 registered undergraduate student organizations that create an active and diverse student involvement scene. As the leader of a student organization, you have a unique opportunity to positively shape the Duke community. This section will explain the role of student organizations and responsibilities you have as a student leader. We have 5 different types of undergraduate student organizations at Duke: SOFC chartered, SOFC recognized, departmental, Greek, and residential. As you can see in this flowchart, each type comes with different requirements. This flowchart is also available on the UCAE website. Being an official student organization at Duke comes with many privileges and responsibilities. To successfully operate as a student organization, all presidents and treasurers must complete this training, register their organization in Duke groups, maintain a complete roster with member, officer, at least president and treasurer, and advisor information in Duke groups. Register all required events in Duke groups at least 4 weeks prior to the event date. You must also maintain a positive balance in your organization's fund code, seek advice from UCAE student involvement about potential high-risk activities, and actively communicate with your advisor. Duke also expects that all student organizations, leaders, and members comply with all Duke University policies, local, state, and federal laws. Part of being a great leader is maximizing the resources available to your organization and realizing you do not have all the answers. In this section, we'll discuss the most important tools you'll need to be successful this year, including Duke Groups and funding processes. Duke Groups is our official online directory for all student organizations and various departments on campus. This system, open to anyone with a Duke Net ID and password, will provide you with the tools for managing your organization and encourage growth and development as you engage in co-curricular activities. We'll now go through the most frequent ways you'll use Duke Groups. We've also created a Duke Groups Student Leader User Guide on the UCAE website to answer all of your Duke Groups questions. To access Duke Groups, go to dukegroups.com. At the top right of the screen, click Log In. You will then be prompted to enter your Net ID and password. To be considered an active organization for this academic year, your group needs to re-register in Duke Groups. Prior to beginning the registration process, it will be helpful to gather your constitution, member contact information, names of your current president and treasurer, and signed advisor agreement form, which is located in the Forms section of the UCAE website. You will note that your group still needs to re-register if you go to your organization's Duke Groups page and click on Manage Organization. It will open up a new tab in a blue banner with Re-register this organization. If your organization does not initially show up, please click View More Organizations. Please note, Duke Groups has a new design. Your organization must also complete the training video and quiz on Sakai. See directions below. All student organizations need to maintain an accurate and complete roster of their membership throughout the year. As members join and leave your group, you will need to update your roster. To update roster information, you will locate your organization's page in the Duke Groups directory, click on Manage Organization on the top right, and find Roster on the drop-down menu bar on the top left. You will see several options to manage the positions, invite people, or message your group. To edit positions, you will click on Manage Positions. To add new members, you will click on Invite People. To create new positions for your organization, you will click on Manage Positions. To message your members, you will click on Messaging. Please note that only presidents and treasurers have access to edit an organization's profile page and roster in its entirety. The Duke Group's student event registration process is designed to help you successfully plan events on campus. To make the planning process easier for you, university staff throughout campus are notified when you submit your event in Duke Groups. Staff will collaborate with you to arrange all of the elements of your event. It is important to note that your submission will not be approved until all appropriate university staff have positively confirmed all event logistics. The length of the approval process varies based on the complexity of your event. Our goal is to provide you with all of the support you need. We encourage you to use this process to help plan any of your events. You are required to register all events that have one or more of the following criteria: an estimated attendance of over 100 people, alcohol present, outdoor amplified sound, guest speaker, involves contracts or paid performers, speakers, or vendors, political campaign events featuring political candidates for office and/or voter registration drives, protests, off-campus attendees, including minors and alumni, charging admission, and outdoor recreation events, for example, 5Ks and races. Only the president, treasurer, authorized spender, and event planners on the Duke Group's roster have access to register events. You'll be asked to upload a space confirmation and submit all logistical details for your event. All events must be registered at least 4 weeks prior to the event date, but you should submit your event as soon as a date and location are set. If you submit your event more than 30 days before the event date, you can make purchases before the event is approved. If you submit the event less than 30 days before the event date, you will not be able to make purchases until the event is approved. Submit your events early. To find this feature, go to your organization's page. Find Events on the top menu bar and then click on the Create Event in the top left corner. Student groups are not allowed to host events after the last day of classes each semester. However, groups may host a study break. Study breaks are intended to provide an alternative to events, but not pose a significant distraction to campus. A study break will comply with all of the following. The activity must be open only to group members. The activity must last no longer than 2 hours. The activity must not include any of the event registration criteria. Please visit the website provided if you are unsure if your event qualifies as a study break and take the study break quiz. UCAE provides financial transaction support for graduate and undergraduate groups, Greek organizations, and houses. Departmentally recognized groups will need to talk to their recognizing department to learn financial policies and procedures. All SOFC recognized and chartered student organizations have a unique student organization bank account with UCAE called a fund code. The UCAE Business and Finance Office processes all student organization financial transactions and is available to help student leaders answer questions about how to spend their organization's money. The UCAE Business and Finance Office is located on the bottom floor of the Bryant Center and is open from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. All SOFC recognized student organizations must work with the UCAE Business and Finance Office for every transaction on your student organization account. Other departments or university staff should not make purchases on your behalf. The student organization president, treasurer, or an authorized spender must sign and approve all forms. UCAE offers 6 different ways for student organizations to spend their money, each of which we will outline in this training. All forms and additional details on how to spend student organizational funds can be found under the Finance tab of the UCAE website. In order for a funding request to be approved, you'll need your president and treasurer to be listed in your Duke Group's roster. Those 2 officers will also need to take this training and pass the quiz with a 90% or above. In addition, groups can have authorized spenders. Most requests are made through Duke Groups by going to campus links and clicking on 1718 Payment Requests. After your first request, you will need to click New One on the next page. Please do not select Resume. In order to know when your request is approved, or if they need more information, click on your profile letter on the top right of the main Duke Groups page, click Account, click Notifications, and then select All Notifications. The easiest way to spend your student organization's money is by interdepartmental request, or an IR. IRs can be used at any vendor, store, or restaurant on campus. To get an IR, you'll submit a P-card request on Duke Groups. Once the purchase is approved on Duke Groups by the Business and Finance Office, the individual who submitted the request can just come to the Finance Office to pick up the form. It acts like a permission slip, and you simply give it to the campus vendor to complete your payment. The vendor will then give you a receipt, which you will need to return to the Business and Finance Office within 1 business day. Please don't give your fund code to an on-campus vendor without first getting an IR form from the Business and Finance Office. Your organization can also make purchases via credit card with the UCAE procurement card. P-cards are used for online and over-the-phone purchases such as ordering food from a restaurant or Amazon orders. To use a P-card, the president, treasurer, or an authorized spender will need to fill out the online P-card request through Duke Groups. After the form is completed and approved, which usually takes 48 hours, the submitter will also need to visit the UCAE Business and Finance Office to make the purchase. The submitter can also designate another member of the group to come into the office in the Duke Group request. The original receipt for the purchase must be put in the P-card box outside of the UCAE Business and Finance Office within 2 business days. Please note that P-cards cannot leave the UCAE Business and Finance Office, and additional charges cannot be authorized without express permission from the UCAE Business and Finance Office. Due to P-card compliance issues, certain vendors and types of purchases cannot be made using a P-card. Examples include, but are not limited to, Nosh, Foster's, and Mediterra. Please see the UCAE website for a list of these restricted vendors. Let's say you cannot wait 48 hours to make a purchase with the P-card, but you know the purchase is a valid use of funds and that your vendor is not on the prohibited list for Duke. This list can be found on the UCAE website. You, as a student, can make the purchase and be reimbursed. The reimbursement form can be found on the UCAE Business and Finance website and must be turned in within 2 weeks of either the event date or purchase date if the purchase is not related to an event. The form must be turned in with an original, detailed receipt and should be signed by the group's president, treasurer, or an authorized spender. However, you do not need to wait for the president or treasurer's signature to turn in the form. It is more important that it is received in a timely manner. We highly recommend keeping a copy of both your form and receipt. There are certain types of purchases that cannot be reimbursed. There are a few listed here. Please see the UCAE website for a complete list of restricted purchases. It takes a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks to receive a reimbursement payment. Please note that Duke faculty and staff cannot be reimbursed directly through the student organization's fund code. Faculty and staff must run all expenses through the departmental fund code. If the student organization wishes to cover an expense that the department paid for, the president or treasurer must initiate a transfer request. Visit the UCAE website for complete details on how to transfer funds to a department. If you do not want to use personal funds, but the vendor is unable to accept a credit card or check, or if they are on the restricted vendors list, you can request a cash advance. The president, treasurer, or authorized spender must submit the online cash advance request through Duke Groups. Current students can request up to $200 per day. Once the advance is approved, the student that the advance was for can go to the cashier's office located at Smith Warehouse to pick up the cash advance. The cashier's office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please note a hold will be placed on the student's Bursar account until the receipts are submitted to the UCAE Business and Finance Office attached to a cash advance receipt form. The cash should remain with the student that collected the cash from the cashier's office. Please make purchases with the cash you are given, not your credit card. If you need to pay for services such as a DJ, speaker, catering over $500, rentals, dues, donations, or reimbursement to individuals that are not affiliated with Duke, you will need to make a check request. First, the president, treasurer, or authorized spender will need to submit the online check request form through Duke Groups. A paper version of the contract must be turned in with a current W-9 to the main UCAE office. If you need to pay an invoice, you can upload the invoice to the check request in Duke Groups. If the payment is going to an individual, you also need to submit the independent contractor checklist. Depending on the payment type, additional paperwork may be required. All forms should be turned in at least 4 weeks prior to the event date. Please note that check request processing times can increase during the busy times of the year. All contracts must go through the contract review process. Students can never sign contracts. All contracts must be signed by a member of the student involvement team. If you submit a contract cover sheet to UCAE, you do not need to do a check request in Duke Groups. Sometimes you may want to co-sponsor an event or purchase with another department or another student organization. In this case, you'll need to fill out the transfer request form in Duke Groups. Your student organization can only transfer funds to a department when you are reimbursing them for expenses, and copies of the reimbursement receipts need to be uploaded to the request. If a department would like to help you sponsor an event, a department representative must email the UCAE Business and Finance Office with the transfer details. All transfers must be initiated by the UCAE Business and Finance Office. Do not give your fund code out to other departments. Your organization may collect funds through donations or fundraisers. You should deposit all funds into your student organization account as soon as possible by coming by the Business and Finance Office. Cash needs to be deposited within 24 hours. All checks should be made out to Duke University. Once checks are received by Business and Finance, they cannot be taken outside of the office. FYI, donations to your student organization are not tax deductible, and you are responsible for letting the donor know this prior to accepting a donation. Donations exceeding $999 must be pre-approved by the UCAE Director of Student Involvement, and larger gifts may need to be pre-approved by the Office of Development before they can be accepted. Students may also host fundraisers. However, some fundraisers are subject to North Carolina's sales tax, which will reduce the organization's total deposit. Examples of fundraisers that are taxable include, but are not limited to, the selling of t-shirts, baked goods, ice cream, and event admission. Please note that raffles are not allowed unless no real money is exchanged. So how do you keep track of all of this spending and collecting? We recommend that your president and treasurer keep a spreadsheet of all transactions and compare that with the transaction sheets available in the Business and Finance Office. Here's an example of a student organization financial statement. Presidents, treasurers, and authorized spenders can visit the UCAE Business and Finance Office to receive a copy of their current financial statement at any time. Financial statements show the current balance of the fund code and a list of all transactions from the year. On these financial statements, positive balances and credits appear as negative numbers, and overdrafts and debits, money coming out of the account, appear as positive numbers. It's the opposite of your personal checking account. Please remember that some items can take up to 10 weeks to post to your account, so at times your treasurer's spreadsheet may be more up to date than the Business and Finance Office's records. Under no circumstances can students do the following: use Square or other devices to process credit card transactions, use Kickstarter, PayPal, or other unapproved online financial services, pay a performer or individual with cash, sign a contract, pay a contract with personal funds, be reimbursed for ATM withdrawals, or complete a financial transaction using Venmo. This is not an exhaustive list. You should seek UCAE Business and Finance assistance with all student organization financial processes. We can help you figure out the best way to pay. In summary, please always keep your Duke Group's roster up to date. Keep records of all of your group's transactions. Always check to make sure you are not using a prohibited vendor. Make sure all reimbursements, whether on paper or online, are turned in within 14 days. Please come see us anytime for help or guidance. We are here to make things easier for you. SOFC stands for the Student Organization Finance Committee. SOFC is a committee of up to 17 students appointed by Duke student government who distribute approximately $700,000 of the student activities fee annually. SOFC distributes this money to over 300 student organizations through the Programming Fund and the annual budget. SOFC also reviews applications for new student organizations on behalf of DSG. All SOFC recognized and chartered student organizations can apply to the SOFC Programming Fund for money toward student organization events. SOFC allocates money through the Programming Fund weekly throughout the school year. To be eligible for Programming Fund money, events must be free and open to the entire undergraduate student population. Organizations must submit Programming Fund applications at least 2 weeks before the event date. Full instructions, applications, and tips to avoid common mistakes are available on the SOFC website. Only SOFC chartered organizations may apply for funding through the SOFC annual budget. The annual budget provides funding for non-event expenses to chartered groups. SOFC reviews annual budget requests once a year in the spring for the upcoming academic year, so the 2017-2018 annual budget has already been finalized. If you were unsure if your organization received annual budget funding, the entire budget can be viewed on the SOFC website. Full instructions, applications, and tips to avoid common mistakes are also available on the SOFC website. SOFC and DSG establish policies to create an open and equitable funding process for all Duke student groups. Here are some important ones to remember. There is a list of items that SOFC cannot fund, including t-shirts and alcohol. Check the full list on the SOFC website before applying for funding. SOFC has the right to audit all events and annual budgets. If the organization has misused funds, the organization will be placed on interim suspension and will not be eligible to receive additional funding from SOFC until the funds have been returned. A full list of policies and guidelines is available on the SOFC website. The Cultural Engagement Fund generally provides undergraduate student organizations with financial resources to develop programs that promote any of the following: arts, co-curricular education, health and safety, multiculturalism and diversity, university and community service, and/or cross-cultural collaboration. The Center for Multicultural Affairs administers the Cultural Engagement Fund each year with 2 calls for funding proposals, once in the fall and once in the spring. For information about eligibility and deadlines for fall 2017 and spring 2018 program funding, visit the CMA website at studentaffairs.duke.edu/CMA. Along with many privileges, being a student organization leader at Duke carries important responsibilities. One of them is to ensure that you, your organization, and its members abide by all Duke University policies and timelines as these exist to guide your student organization in a direction that positively contributes to the Duke student experience. As a positional leader of your group, you have the potential and responsibility to help advance the Duke community. You are also poised to help shape the leadership lessons that members of your group receive. What does it mean for you and for them to be a good Duke citizen as part of a student organization? This is a brief overview of the most frequently asked about student organization policies. These are only summaries. More detailed descriptions are available on the UCAE website. This list is also not comprehensive, and policies can change throughout the year as student organization needs change. Student organizations are expected to follow all university, UCAE, and Duke community standard policies, and should regularly check the student organization policy section of the UCAE website for updates. UCAE reserves many event and meeting room spaces, including the Broadhead Center, Penn Pavilion, Bryant Center meeting rooms, and campus theaters. For a full list of UCAE reserved spaces, visit the UCAE website. The UCAE staff is here to support student organization event planning, and we encourage you to meet with UCAE staff as early as possible to find space for your upcoming events. Remember to also communicate regularly with your student organization members, advisor, and campus partners. Students are never allowed to sign contracts on behalf of their student organizations. All contracts must be signed by a UCAE staff member. This is to protect you as students so that you are not personally liable for the contract. UCAE staff are also available to assist you with the contract negotiation process. If you have questions about how to book a speaker or performer, or would like assistance looking up a particular performer's fee, please stop by UCAE Student Involvement and speak with a staff member. If your organization needs a contract signed, it must be submitted to UCAE at least 4 weeks before your event. Processing time depends on the complexity of the contract and the event because it may need to be reviewed by multiple offices. Some contracts can take up to 8 weeks to process, so submit it for review as early as possible. To submit a contract to UCAE, do the following. Register your event on Duke Groups. Complete the contract's cover sheet located on the UCAE website. If there are changes that you want made to the contract, please submit the changes on a separate document and do not write directly on the contract. Submit the contract with attached cover sheet to the front desk in the UCAE Administrative Suite on the second floor of the Bryan Center. Please note your event will not be approved in Duke Groups until all contracts have been submitted, and you will not be able to make purchases with the UCAE Business and Finance Office until your event is approved, so submit your contracts early. Again, never sign a contract. If you want to hire a student to be a DJ, photographer, or artist for your event, you must complete the Student Entertainer and Creative Artist Agreement on the UCAE website. After the student entertainer has signed the agreement, submit the form to the UCAE Business and Finance Office. After the event, the fee will be automatically deduced from your student organization fund code. All purchased t-shirts and customized items must be made through a Duke-approved vendor. Any purchase made from an unapproved vendor will be denied payment of any form, including reimbursement. A full list of Duke licensees is available on the Duke Trademark and Licensing website. If your student organization wants to create an external website, you must go through Office of Trademark and Licensing. Alternatively, groups may work with Duke OIT to set up a free sites.duke.edu website. Duke protects the use of its logos. If you would like to include any references to Duke, it must be pre-approved by the Office of Trademark and Licensing. Plan ahead and seek approval early. Duke has a very strict corporate solicitation and sponsorship policy. We recognize that there may be times when student organizations want to partner with an off-campus entity, so student groups can request an exception through UCAE if the partnership meets these criteria. The off-campus entity's purpose must directly align with the student organization's mission. A good example is the Duke Red Cross bringing the American Red Cross to campus. A member of the student organization must always be present and remain at the activity the entire time. The sponsored activity must abide by all local, state, and federal laws and Duke policies. This policy applies to voter registration drives. The request form can be found on the UCAE website and must be submitted at least 2 weeks before the activity. Student organization events can be either BYOB or distribution by a Duke dining bartender, but never both. Only students who are 21 or older may have alcohol. Events must have one party monitor for every 25 expected attendees. Party monitor training is run by the Do Well, and you can sign up for training on their website. All events with alcohol must be registered on Duke Groups. If a student travels abroad using Duke funds, sponsored by a Duke organization or department, or to earn credit for a Duke degree, the student must register travel plans in the Duke registry at travel.duke.edu. The student must also carry all documentation listed in the International Travel Policy. The full policy can be found online. Registering your international travel through the Duke Travel Registry also provides you with a number of benefits, including access to emergency assistance while you are abroad. Duke University has a strict policy against hazing. Duke defines hazing as any action taken or situation created, whether on or off university premises, that is harmful or potentially harmful to an individual's physical, emotional, or psychological well-being, regardless of an individual's willingness to participate or its bearing on his/her membership status. Hazing is never allowed at Duke in any organizations or activities. Hazing hotline is 919-684-5766. This phone line goes to voicemail, allowing you to leave a confidential message with information related to the hazing incident. As an official student organization, you can table on the Plaza or Bryan Center and at the Marketplace on East Campus. For Plaza and Bryan Center tabling, you will need to visit the UCAE Administrative Suite located on the second floor of the Bryan Center. Tables can be signed out 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on a first-come, first-served basis. Please note that the solicitation policy applies to tabling as well. For marketplace tabling, contact Duke Dining. The Crown Commons Bridge outside of the Broadhead Center and the West Campus bus stop are not approved tabling locations. You can visit the UCAE website for a full list of tabling policies. Because of North Carolina state law, Duke does not allow gambling of any kind. Raffles are not allowed unless no real money is exchanged. Casino nights must be free and require no financial buy-in of any kind. Posters and flyers can only be placed on approved posting surfaces such as bulletin boards. Flyers are not allowed on bathroom stalls, sidewalks, doors, windows, benches, trees, etc. Chalking is also not allowed on any surface at Duke. As a leader, you are expected to know and follow all policies in the Duke Community Standard, Student Organization Handbook, and university websites. If you have any questions about policy, contact UCAE for assistance. Leadership is a contribution. Your student organization is accountable for positively contributing to the Duke community. Student organizations who do not maintain a basic compliance with university requirements or fail to abide by Duke policies are subject to consequences, including but not limited to loss of privileges. Our goal is to help student organizations be successful. Please make it a priority to register your organization via Duke Groups. Complete all training requirements and abide by all university policies. Remember, if you need assistance, please seek UCAE support. Do you want to take your organization to the next level this year? What do you want your student leader legacy to be? This next section will highlight resources and programs that are designed to help you and your organization have an outstanding year. These tools will help you unlock the amazing potential of your student organization and develop you as a stronger leader. The Center for Leadership Development and Social Action, also called LDSA, provides resources and experiences to help you practice leadership and inspire positive change. Come visit us at FF 107 Fuquad. You can help by recognizing members of your group for their leadership. Let us know at leading@studentaffairs.duke.edu if you catch someone being a good leader, and we'll send them some swag. The student organization lineup is the recognition process used by the student involvement team to recognize great work that student organizations are doing to improve the Duke community. Groups that have completed student organization requirements, attended student involvement programming initiatives, and hosted innovative programs will be recognized for their efforts. Each level of recognition will include rewards. Recognition will happen monthly for the duration of the academic year. If you have any questions, contact UCAE Student Involvement. Duke Launch is a peer-run advising program where individual students can make appointments with launch agents to better their involvement on campus. Student organizations can also meet with launch agents to improve in specific areas, such as marketing and recruitment, leadership development, transitioning, retreat planning, and much more. Signing up for an appointment is easy. Just go to dukelaunch.org today. Also, SOFC requires all new student organizations to meet with Launch as part of the recognition process. DIDA, or DIDA, is the Duke Innovative Design Agency, a team of students that provide creative services for student organizations and the Duke community. DIDA focuses on offering beautiful graphic design to make their clients stand out. To apply for service, visit DIDA's website at studentaffairs.duke.edu/UCAE/program/DIDA. The front desk is located in the UCAE Administrative Suite on the second floor of the Bryan Center. If you would like help booking a space for your event, the front desk staff are here to help. The front desk staff is also fully stocked with free supplies available to student organizations, like button makers, poster supplies, a Cricut cutting machine, and so much more. This newsletter is emailed every Thursday to all student organization leaders and advisors. It contains information about policy, events, training opportunities, reminders, and announcements. The newsletter is a great way for your organization to promote itself to others and for you to learn about what other groups are doing. To receive the newsletter, make sure your roster is up to date in Duke Groups. To submit a blurb, visit bit.ly/117QRJB. Remember, this training is not exhaustive and is meant to provide you with the basics you need to simply get started. You are expected to seek UCAE assistance, communicate regularly with your advisor, and strive to operate with integrity. UCAE student involvement is always here to help you and your organization. We are excited that you will be taking on this leadership role and can't wait to see everything that you will accomplish this year. Now that you've completed this training video, you'll need to complete the quiz located in the Tests and Quizzes section of Student Org Training Sakai site. You will not have completed the training until you have passed the quiz. If you have any questions, contact UCAE Student Involvement. Thank you. This information is now considered general knowledge. There is a certain expected responsibility that you have received this information, and you should pass and disseminate this information to your organization. Please refer back to this information with original questions or to look for clarification.